Welcome back, everybody. Today I have a Firework battery for you. For those who don't know, a Firework battery basically fires fireworks in a special sequence that create a cool effect. But before we get started with the demonstration though, I want to give a shout out to Narcoleptic Frog because I was inspired by his creations to do this build. Anyway, we can start the battery by simply pulling this lever, which will activate the machine. Now that the fireworks have stopped, we can come down here and turn off the lever, turning off the machine. If you want to skip the explanation and go right to the tutorial, there's a link in the description for that. But basically this contraption uses a time code of sorts to control when which firework should be activated. This time is read by transferring items, which are the time code itself, from this minecart chest up top through a hopper into another minecart chest down below. Then we detect when a non-stackable item goes through, which is our trigger, and use its signal strength of 3 to do that. So a normal stackable item has a signal strength of 1, so it will only reach this redstone, but the signal strength of 3 is going to reach this one, which will activate the repeater and activating the dispenser and the node block, but you could also remove the node block entirely. And we also use a clock to slow down the hoppers a bit, because I think 2.5 items per second is a little bit fast, and you can also adjust the distance between the steps, so you can adjust the distance between the fireworks by simply getting like 2 vortex repeaters right here, and that would make the distance much longer. And finally we can rotate these minecart chests by simply pressing a button up there, which is going to activate this line and rotate this one up top and that one down below, because when we activate the machine, it will take all of the items right here and put them into this one, and then we want them back up top and not down below here. So to build this contraption, we're going to need a 10 wide area, and the length is going to depend on how many dispensers you're going to want, but I'm going to build with 3 dispensers. So I'm going to need a 4 wide area, and this is going to require a 7 high area too. And we're going to start by going out 3 blocks from the right, and then 2 blocks up like this, and you should be on the 3rd block. Then place a non-movable block, just like melons, a redstone torch on top, and a normal block on top, another redstone torch, and another block on top. Now you're going to go into both directions with normal blocks with redstone on top, and then you want to have your line of redstone right here, and this is going to just repeat for how many dispensers you have. And then we're going to just place in normal pistons right here, and on the other side we're going to do the same, but now the normal pistons have to be below the normal blocks, just like this. And this is going to just rotate our storage minecarts. Then we're going to get a output from this block with a redstone dust. Then a normal piston, just updating a other piston down here, which is going to be right here, a sticky piston. Then 2 slime blocks like that, and then more slime blocks in this kind of row, and this has to be as long as you have dispensers, and you can only have 10 dispensers because the slime blocks are limited to 12, so 1, 2, and then a 10 row of 10 I meant. And then we're going to just fill in the rest with non-movable blocks and normal blocks. And right here you want to place in your hoppers, just like this. And these are going to transfer the items from the one minecart chest to the other one. And now if we get a button, it should first activate the slime blocks, and after 2 ticks it should activate the normal pistons, just like that. Now we're going to get out a other circuit color. So I like to have circuit colors in my build, but you can just use the same color all the time. But I like to have them for organization. And then we're going to just get a repeater, not a repeater, but a comparator output from the hoppers, just like that. Then go and place 3 redstone dust behind the comparators, like this. And then a repeater that is going to be powered by this redstone dust out, which is going to go into our dispensers, which I don't have on me currently, but now we can place in our dispensers. And here I would recommend to place 1 color in each dispenser and don't mix it up in the dispensers, but that's your choice and not mine, so do whatever you want. Now we're going to start with the clock that is going to regulate the item flow through the hoppers. And we're going to start by placing a row of blocks just 2 blocks below the hoppers, and make sure that the first one is non-movable because it is sticking to a slab block. And then just place in redstone torches on top of those blocks, which are going to lock the hoppers. Now we want to get a short pulse into these redstone torches, and for that we're going to get repeaters out, set them to 2 ticks, or these can also be 1 tick, but you can also use any tick you want. Just don't go over 3 because that would allow 2 items. Then we're going to go out on the last block, 1 more to the dispensers, then a block next to that and a repeater facing out of that block, then another block with a redstone torch on top, block, and this is going to power a dropper with a item inside, and this is just going to go into a hopper, and this is going to create a monostable circuit. Then get a comparator out of there, run that signal through a block into a redstone dust, and finally back again into the loop with another normal repeater. And this is going to be our clock and our lever I showed you earlier. And as you can see, these all blink at the same time. And this is going to regulate your flow, so you can get longer delays, just like this. But you shouldn't take this repeater to more than 2 ticks, but you can do this repeater longer than 2 ticks, just like this. But I like to have it on 1 tick per repeater, just like this. Now comes the really tedious part, and that is just programming the codes into the machine. And for that we're going to get out our minecart chests and just letting them drop down into the machine. And I like to have a shaft just like this, but this is all temporary, that's why I didn't include it in the build height. And I like to have this shaft just like this. And then just powered rails going into this like this, and then power them with levers. The first batch you can just drop in without worrying about the items inside. And then we can cycle it once, just like this. Yeah. Oh yeah. It won't really cycle that well because I haven't made blocks right here. But now you can see it will cycle just like that. And you don't want to forget these because it won't cycle without them. Then we can just get the shaft. So build the shaft up like this. Bring these out one block and place the shaft in. And I know it's a not very nice shaft, but it will do the job. Now we can program in our time codes, and for that we're going to just take the amount of time that we want to wait before sending our first firework. So for example, I want to have 3 items pass before the first one is going to be fired. So I put 3 stackable items in there. Then a non-stackable item, and I just use a sword. You can use whatever you want. Then it's very important to use a other non-stackable item the next time, so they don't get messed up and combine with the hopper. But now I want to wait, for example, 3 or 5 items, and now another firework. And you can't really do 2 fireworks exactly behind each other because the comparator won't pick up that all the time. But you could control your clock to that speed, but I would just recommend to put a item in between every firework, just like this. And you have to do this for every other firework too. And then you can also have elaborate firework sequences like I had right there by just hooking up. Like for example, we could have 3 items in this one before the first one, then 2 items in this one, and then 1 item in this one before the first firework. And this would just fire this one first, then this one. Oh, I broke it, and then this one. And now that we've filled up these, but you can also, of course, fill them up completely, we can just send them in like that. And now we can see it will get us some outputs just like this. And this is what I meant by having a figure. So first that, and then that. And you could see the other 2 fireworks right here. And now we can also try out the cycling. So I'm going to cycle once, and they're back up again. And as you can see, they will go through the hopper into the bottom chest. Or minecart chest, I should say. But right here, you can see it's done. Now we can turn it off. And we can see that the minecart chest with the items gets cycled back up. A very quick correction. I meant to have a block right here after the repeaters, and on top of that a dispenser. Because if we would have them right here, they would always fire 2 at a time, and that's not what we want. But now you can see it will just fire 1. If we cycle it once, and then play it 1, 2, and then after a while, it should play the third one 2 times. 1 and 2. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to support my channel. Don't forget to check out Narcoleptic Frog, and I hope to see you all in the next one.